Welcome to TRL Radio with your hosts, Eric and Michelle Hall.
Your average Joe experts in simplified health. Alrighty, and hey, welcome back to TRL Radio. We have part two of our power-packed food series. If you have not listened to part one yet, we highly recommend you to go back, listen to part one. It'll make part two make more sense.
Right. Usually
just like anything, yeah.
Want to do one before two, so yeah.
Right. But yeah, so like last week we talked a lot about food. Really the title, the overall idea here is 4 life-changing food habits that work with any diet.
Right.
Last week we talked about 2 ideas. Today we're going to talk about 2 more, but these are food habits that work with any diet. And honestly, like the main idea around all of this is that we just want to we want people to have a healthy relationship with food.
Right. Yeah, it's not about, okay, here's all these rules and you have to follow them and there's no flexibility and, having this like obsessive relationship with food where you're every single thing you're putting into your body, you're like obsessing over. Like that's not healthy either. So these are like guides to help you make better decisions that are going to help your all-around health.
Yeah, and that's honestly specifically why we have like food habits. We didn't call them rules or things like that because, I don't know, like you said, you start thinking about all these different things of like, we can't do this, we can't eat this, we must do this, this is good, this is bad. We start making morality out of food.
Yeah, villainizing foods. And it's like, there's not a whole lot of food that's like bad.
Right.
Food is food. Like there's
food
just
is, like,
better
we think
choices.
Bad. Yeah, it's like food isn't really bad or good. It's food, right? And we can put a lot of like undue stress on it, right? So these are just 4 life-changing food habits.
Right.
And the cool thing is that work with any diet, right? So whatever food diet frame you adhere to, this should work, right? So whether it be you're vegetarian, you're vegan, you're carnivore, you're whatever, Mediterranean, these ideas will work with any of those, right? Because it's not this,
rigid,
super exclusive. Like you hear, like we're not here to say this is what we do. Here's just habits that we fit, and it might look different to you. So, for instance, last episode we talked about 2 things. We talked about the right amounts of the right foods. And obviously we're not going to like dive into all of that again right now, but please again, go listen to that if you haven't yet, because it's going to line in perfectly with the 2 rights, R-I-G-H-T-S, that we talk about today.
Yep.
Again, it's not necessarily about right and wrong, but just like the right amounts of the right foods. And today we're going to talk about 2 other ones. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And the first one we're going to dive into is
the right
time.
Yeah. So when you start thinking about timing of food, and like that's important, there's this phrase called circadian rhythm, and it's something that like we literally had never heard of before until we started going back to school, learning about this stuff, understanding how our body works, and we'll kind of get this to a little bit later too. We'll talk about it a little bit more, but like with all these different things, a lot of it is just kind of going back to the way things have always been.
Right.
Well, we're only used to things from when we've been born, and things have been pretty messed up from like a food, and we'll talk about this more later, but like, so we want to kind of get back to like, how does our body work? What was the purpose of all this? Like, so circadian rhythm is like just this timing or rhythm that your body works to where it's the times where it's your body's most optimized to be digesting food, and where your body's most optimized to be sleeping, and when you're most optimized to be working out and things like that, right? And when you talk about it, it's like, oh my gosh, this is so complicated. It actually really just kind of makes sense.
Right. It's honestly how we all were naturally born to function.
Right.
And everyone's can look a little bit different. Like when you say a word like circadian rhythm, what does that mean? And we're going to get into like the timing of what it actually means. But everyone's cycle might look a little bit different.
Right.
Like you might need a little less sleep than I do. You might need a little more food and a little later or whatever. But like it all kind of balances out. And what we're talking about there, like when it comes to food and eating at the right time, I think we all kind of everyone kind of knows, yeah, if I, eat an entire bag of potato chips at midnight, I feel like everyone kind of knows, hey, that's probably not
Right.
your healthiest option, you know what I mean? But
Right.
why?
When you think about these habits you talked about, right? The right amounts of the right foods. Okay, so the right amount, an entire bag of potato chips. Well, that's not the right amount of the right foods. Well, a bag of potato chips.
It's okay every once in a
right,
while.
but probably not always the right
Right.
food. And then you think about the right time at midnight. It's like, okay, well, of three of the four rights that we're talking about,
Right.
it's like, not great.
And
so
so why is it not the best choice to eat an entire bag of chips at midnight? Because
Right.
circadian rhythm, and this is where this plays into,
Yeah.
there's actually, we call it the magic window of eating time, which for most people starts at about 8 a.m. It ends at about 8 p.m.
Right.
That's like the magic window of we should all kind of be consuming 95 to 100% of our calories
Right.
during that
If
time.
you think about it, like, it kind of just makes sense. Like, from the dawn of time, since humans have been around, like, this idea of us always having food is a new thing.
Right.
Like, the idea of, like, pantries. And by new, I mean, for as long as
Last-
humans have been in existence, right? So, whatever your belief is on how long you think humans have been alive for, it's really only the past
Couple hundred years, maybe?
at,
At
at
most.
most. You think about okay, so in the recording of this, right? So right now it's 2025, right? 100 years ago would have been, if I do my math correct, 1925,
You got it.
right? So in 1925, the access to food that we have now was not the same,
Right.
right? To where we have pantries just full of food, right? To where you really want anything, it's there. Like,
Everyone, you walk in and everyone has their own little mini grocery store.
right.
Like it's not, for the most part, I know there's people that go grocery shopping every day for whatever they're going to eat for that day. So I get that, not everyone has a pantry brimming with food. But for the most part, a lot of us can walk in and be like, what snack sounds good today? And I have 30 to choose from.
Right. So even if we were to be super generous and say since 1925, the past 100 years, which that is crazy generous to say people have had pantries full of food like we do today since 1925. But just for easy numbers, since the dawn of mankind, the past 100 years,
Not that long.
right, is super small. Now,
Yeah.
for us, that's all we know, right?
Right.
Like I'm not 100 years old, you're not 100 years. So that's all we've known. So for us to think about a food scarcity is weird.
Right.
Like we don't, the whole thing of like, oh, I'm so hungry, let's look. And you look at your fridge full of food and your pantry full of food and you go, "Ugh, there's nothing to eat." What?
Right.
Right,
Yeah.
well, my grocery bill says there should be quite a bit to eat, right? Like, and
Yes.
so this idea, so you think about like, we have all this access to food. That hasn't always been the case. In fact, for the large majority of time, that hasn't been the case. And so people would get up, you would eat, you would work, you would then eat in the evening, and then you would be done. Like, of just going to get it. So like this 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And again, like with circadian rhythm, I love that you said this, that like everyone has a circadian rhythm. Everyone's isn't the exact same, right? It's like you said, it'll be shifting by a couple hours. So we say 8 to 8, that's like, that's loose terms right there, right? But it kind of makes sense. We really have no need to eat a whole lot of food before 8 a.m. And you really have no reason to eat a lot of food after 8 p.m.
Yeah.
Right?
And honestly, when we do eat food after that magic window, there's some complications that arise because of that.
Right.
Like our body needs to stop eating.
Right.
And there's some different things that happen within our bodies that if we do eat, digestion,
Right.
we're going to struggle. Our
Right.
body is supposed to be doing a plethora of other things. And now we're digesting food well into the evening past, we're laying there trying to sleep and your body's doing functions that should have been done hours before.
Right.
And so what happens to the functions that it's supposed to be doing? Well, those get put off. And I love, you were the one that originally said this illustration because we were watching The Office.
Right. Also,
watch
too, just,
Another great show. I don't know if we've noticed or mentioned The Office
yeah,
yet, but
it's maybe one of the greatest television shows that's ever been on TV.
super cringy,
I mean,
but
I hate
amazing.
to say that, like, opinions can be wrong because, like, they're opinions. But if you don't think that, your opinion is wrong.
People are like either are clapping and like, yes, amen, I agree with that, or like, oh, maybe this is not
people immediately turn this off and they're like,
us.
yeah, this is not the podcast
Yeah.
for us. So,
So,
yeah, you
sorry
know,
about that,
a lot
but-
of love out to Steve Carell, John
Yeah.
Krasinski, you know,
Yeah.
Rainn Wilson. Those guys are
Yeah.
just amazing.
Yeah.
So, The Office. But yeah, so there's an episode of The Office where it's where
They have to work
Joe
late,
comes
yeah.
in. So Joe is like the, you know, the
Big head honcho
yeah, after they
boss.
get bought by Saber, is actually called Sabre.
Yeah.
Another funny episode where they write a song and everything doesn't rhyme because they mispronounce the name. But anyhow, so she's in from like corporate, right? And so she's in the conference room working late, and Steve Carell, you know, who plays Michael Scott, wants his staff, his office, to be working. He feels
she's
weird.
there,
Yeah, he feels
then
weird.
they need to be there.
Exactly. He feels weird having them leave, and so they're working late. You know, whatever. The cleaning crew for the office to come in and vacuum and empty garbages or whatever comes in, and they have like their earbuds in, whatever, and they're just used to knowing being there. They're not really paying attention. They start cleaning. Then they look up because like the office is like looking at them like, what are you guys doing here? And they're like, oh my gosh, we're so sorry. And they leave. They leave because they're still there
They're
doing
still
work,
working,
right?
and yeah.
So the illustration here comes to where like if we're digesting food late, we're kind of like the office workers that are working late. When our cleaning crew, so we have this lymphatic system that every night comes in. So while you're sleeping, again, just like the cleaning room, when you go home from work, there's a crew that comes in and vacuums and cleans or whatever, make sure your toilet paper is stocked and all those types of
So
things.
you're
right?
ready to go the next morning.
Right. We have a cleaning crew for called this lymphatic system that goes through, and everything from your brain to your toes gets cleaned out. You know, waste is cleaned out, memories are reconciled, and things like that. When you're digesting food late, this cleaning crew comes in to do the job and is like, oh, whoops, people are still working here. We have to wait, right? And so either that job, as you mentioned before, gets severely delayed. It isn't able to happen because there's so much digestion happening that by the time you're waking up, they're like, oh, okay, I
didn't
guess.
finish,
Yeah,
yeah.
right. And so honestly, some of this stuff has even been started to been linked to Alzheimer's and things like that because
Well, you're cleaning out all the bad cells,
Right.
right? The things that cause, you know, even like cancer-causing cells. Like your body takes care of those naturally, but if we're not allowing it the time to do it,
the clean
those
out.
thrive.
Yeah, like we daily are producing waste to like, and not just like you think using the bathroom, but like internally, like your body is working all day long and there's waste that's produced and it has to be getting taken care of. If not, you're going to end up with like literally like, you know, these garbage dumps inside your body where your body's like, we don't have time to take care of this because we're always digesting food. So we have to wait, right?
Yeah.
So that's one of the problems of eating. So, you know, we kind of say, hey, like, if you can, that's why we think about 8 p.m., right? You know, if you go to bed at 10 p.m. or whatever, like, it gives your body 2 hours of not digesting food, right? To be able to be ready to when you go to bed, that cleaning crew can come and it's like, cool, no one's here. We can do our job, right? So
Yeah.
that's why we kind of say that 8 a.m.
Right.
to 8 p.m.
It's a couple hours before you go to bed.
Right.
Like if you go to bed at 8 p.m., okay, then your window should look different because I'm guessing if you're going to bed at 8 p.m., you might be waking up at 4 a.m.
Right,
so
right,
your window's going to look a little bit different, and that's okay. But yeah, when we don't do that, not only is digestion, all these things, like it will affect your sleep. And we already talked about sleep in one of our previous episodes, how important that is, and all the things that ride on getting a good night's sleep. If we're digesting, our sleep is then also affected, and we're waking up and we're not as restored as we should be, and
Right.
all these things. So you want to get a better night's sleep, stop eating a couple hours before you go to sleep.
Right. Yeah, and we'll dive into this more and do a whole master class on sleep a little bit too. But it's literally the foundation, like the
Right.
101, the baseline. And we won't get into it now just because we have so many other things to get into today. But like, you know, the whole phrase of like, oh, I'll sleep when I die. Like, and I used to like think that, right? Like, oh yeah, like it's just sleep. What the heck, man? If I get 4 hours, 5 hours, whatever, man, that's such a bad way of thinking
Right.
about sleep, right?
Well, and here's the thing. If you have that mindset, you will get there faster. If you
Right.
say, oh, I'll sleep when I die, chances are you're going to be closer to death than someone who
Right.
is taking care of their body and getting the sleep that it needs. So,
Right. So with that too, but so we get it. Like we're a family of 6. Like life happens.
Yep.
Like we literally were just talking about with our audio technicians here, Caleb and Ricky. Shout out to Caleb and Ricky. But like how busy life has been, like, and like, so life happens, and to where that's where it's like, hey, these are just different like food habits, not rules. Like there will be times you're going to eat past 8 p.m.
Yep.
Right.
And
There's going to be times where you're going to eat before 8 a.m. And that's okay, right?
Yeah.
We want to make that the exception to the rule as opposed to the rule.
Right. But
life happens.
And knowing that, we want to try and plan ahead as much as possible. So if you, like one thing we try to do every week, before the week starts, so typically on a Sunday, sometimes Saturday, depending on what our Sunday looks like, we'll look ahead and be like, okay, what's the week look like? What do we have going on in the evenings? And if we look and say, oh, we've got this, this, and this, like, okay, let's plan accordingly. We were not going to be home until 8 o'clock, and we're leaving at 4. Like, I don't want to have dinner at 3:30. Like, we're not that age yet.
Right.
I don't know that anybody is, but we don't want to eat at 3:30, but we're not home till 8.
Having a good dinner at 3:30 sounds amazing.
Sometimes the tummy's grumbling, and you're like, yep, I could eat a lot right now. But, okay, we're not going to be home till 8, and there's no time for dinner in there. So what do we do? And that's where it's typically like, okay, I'm going to try and plan ahead. I'll have a crock pot meal, or I'm going to make a big hearty salad with chicken and something like that. So it'll be a little bit easier to digest, but it's still going to be filling. We'll have that when we get home. Different meals, different bowls, stuff that you can have most of it thrown together so that when you get home, you can eat it relatively quickly after you get home.
Right. And that's where that planning too, of like, if you know that you ideally want to be in bed, 10:30. Mm-hmm. And you're going to be having dinner at 9:30, 9:30 because of who knows, right? Life happens, right?
Yeah.
Typically, and I say typically, there aren't too many surprises that come into life where you weren't expecting
to be home.
Where you're like, oh my gosh, we're home super late. I wasn't expecting it. Oh my gosh, it happens. It's happened to us, right? That's typically rare. Usually you kind of know. So with that planning of like, okay, hey, we're going to have a lighter dinner though. Mm-hmm. So maybe with that you have a bigger lunch, right? So you're not famished, right? Mm-hmm. Or what happens
you're grabbing a good healthy protein bar to take with you so that, okay, I'm going to eat this while we're out because this is portable.
Right. So when I get home,
I'm not like, okay, I'm going to chew my arm off because I'm so hungry.
Yeah. And that's where that planning comes into place, right? So of having like those healthy snacks with you, like those protein bars, beef sticks, mixed nuts, fruits, like, again, we're not endorsed or we're not affiliates with any of these companies, but like we get a lot of our snacks from a company called Paleo Valley. We would recommend going there because they're organic, especially like the protein bars are. Their bone broth as well as the beef sticks are grass-fed. Like, so all good things. Like, so we would recommend like heading over there. There's some really good stuff there. But having that stuff ready, it's super portable, easy, tastes good, and that way when you get home and you're having the salad or whatever for dinner.
A little lighter, a soup or whatever. I will say this too, because this literally happened yesterday. So I had made a plan because I knew, okay, I'm working all day Friday, and then we had volleyball last night. We had 2 games that we were playing, and there was a very short amount of time between, and I knew I was with 6th graders all day with doing the Greek Olympics, which was amazing.
Right,
but
you're a substitute teacher.
I'm a substitute teacher, which I never thought that was where I was going to end up right now, but I love it. It's actually pretty awesome. So, but anyway, so crazy day screaming with 6th graders during our Greek Olympics. We were the Spartans. We won. Shout out Spartans. This is Sparta.
Yeah.
Heard that a lot.
And I immediately was like,
oh, I know. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Like, so being from Michigan, huge Wolverine fan, which I know that Wolverines and Spartans from it's
I know.
That's not what you were doing.
That's not what I was doing, babe.
Was disappointed with
yes, but we won. I know. I'm sorry, but not sorry because we were awesome.
Yes.
Anyway, so I was like, okay, I am going to be on top of this. I had a crock pot. I was going to do pulled pork, like shredded pork. We've done it over rice. Our friend Kalia actually made this meal for us because I always think pulled pork, okay, barbecue sandwiches. Like that's what we're going to do. she like seasoned it differently and it was delicious. And then we had it with like rice and zucchini and pickled onions and all this and like these really good pulled shredded pork bowls.
What is the kimchi?
Kimchi and all these, like, so good, nice and light, so that when we go to play volleyball, we're not like, burping and,
Yeah, by the way, we are in a Friday night volleyball league and we are easily the worst team out there.
Yep. It's been fun.
But we get to run around and have exercise, so
yes,
that's fun.
It's good. So Thursday night, because I have to leave early in the morning, I get everything ready in this crock pot and I put the crock pot in our fridge downstairs because there wasn't room in the one upstairs. I'm like, all I have to do is grab out the actual like heating component part of the crock pot and throw it in. And what did I do?
You forgot.
I left the house and I forgot. And I did not realize, because there was people home that could have like thrown it in there for me, but I didn't realize until like 1 o'clock. And I'm like, well, crap. That's not going to cook in time. So literally this whole meal that I planned to make our Friday easy so we could have this nice light meal was out the window. And now I'm coming home thinking, okay, what am I going to make? What's fast? Like what, and we ended up, and it was delicious. We had brats with like peppers and onions. I made homemade buns because I have this quick bread recipe that was really fast. But what was I doing on the volleyball court? Like burping and probably trying to hold in farts the whole time. Every time I jump, because I had this meal that was not the most conducive to play sports. So you plan things. Sometimes it doesn't go quite the way you want it to, and that's okay. Now I have a meal planned for tomorrow, so it's great if I remember to put it in the freaking crock pot, so help me remember that. Right. But anyway, but plans go crazy. You do your best. You make wise choices when you can.
Yeah. And now I know like where that smell came from, because like we were playing volleyball and I was like, wow, this gym smells like farts. Yeah. But I understand.
I'm sure
now
I was not the only one. Yeah. Every time I jump, I'd be like, man, burp. Okay.
Goodness.
Anyway, just kidding.
So again, like life happens. Like plan ahead, especially again. What's funny too is like we'll talk about. There's so many things in life that we're okay planning for. Mm-hmm. Like it's just acceptable. But when it comes to our health and eating and things like that, like for some reason, like that's like, I don't have time to plan for that. And the thing I always tell people, like, because we've coached people who've thought that before, of saying like, are you successful at your job? Well, yeah, well, how did you get successful at your job? Did it just happen like, well, I just got lucky and my boss came to me one day and was like, hey, you want to be promoted? Like, no, almost always the answer we get is like, well, no, like, yeah, I work hard and then when I was up for promotion, like I put together this plan to talk through this and to mention this, and here's the things I'm good at, and here's some things I can work on, but here's why I think, and I'm like, okay, so you planned to be successful at your job. Yes. Why do you think that that's not acceptable when it comes to your own health and your own food and your own life to plan? Mm-hmm. Like you have to plan for it. And it's not like it's like this massive paradigm of things you have to plan for. Right. It does take time, and early on it feels like homework, but you just got to put some planning in, because like we said before, like if you don't, at some point your health will catch up with you and you will have to start planning for it. It's better to be the one that's in control. So
absolutely
plan, like look at your calendar. When are we expecting these late nights, right? Mm-hmm. Things like that. So plan for it, and then do the meals accordingly as well.
And another part of that right time, you think about actually seasonally, right? So we have certain fruits and veggies, certain foods that are in season wherever we live. And it's funny because your body literally starts to crave those certain foods. There's a reason why you typically don't crave a big slice of watermelon in December.
Well, just think about it. Like, so we're in Western New York in Buffalo, and it's as we're recording this too, it's March, and March is not a warm month in Buffalo. But a couple days ago, we had like this unseasonably
70-degree day.
Yes, mid 70-degree day. I actually got to go golfing in March. Again, another thing I'm not good at, volleyball and golf. I have fun though.
Yep.
Anyhow, and that day we had, I know.
I made, it was a summer salad. I made homemade chicken wings.
Yes, that's
which
what it
are
was.
bomb. We'll have to post that.
Yeah.
Like, once you make homemade chicken wings, I will never buy them again.
Right.
Like, they're so good. But on the side, we did a summer salad because I had a bunch of strawberries because they're starting to come into season a little bit more. And they're on sale. So I grabbed a bunch. So we had like spinach, and it was strawberries and shallots and
Candy
pecans and goat cheese or feta. I know we
Right.
have different tastes, with a balsamic dressing. And it like was this fresh salad that like felt like summer,
Right.
because we're getting to a point where like craving those spring summer foods.
Well, I remember even as we were eating it, we're like, oh my gosh, this feels like summer.
Yep.
So like it fit, but like to have that like in mid-December, it would be like, not that it would be gross, but it'd be like, oh, this is good. But like,
Yeah. Well, how many times have I had a meal planned like, oh, we haven't had chicken lettuce cups in a while, I should do that, and it's like, it's January. I don't want chicken lettuce cups. I want a hearty soup. Like, I want to
Right.
have some potatoes, you
Right.
know? So, and it's like, and I don't end up making it because no one wants it because it's cold and it's refreshing and it's great in the summertime.
right.
But in the winter, I want something hearty and warm.
Right. And so there's these seasonal foods. So it kind of almost like this like side arm of like circadian rhythm, right? Is like this idea of these seasonal foods that have like this time when they're good, like when your body's really craving them. Like, and to say, okay, I really want this, right? I think like you mentioned before that like at that point things are more readily available. Like, so there's those foods are going to be a little bit more nutrient dense, right?
They don't have to travel as far.
yeah,
They're
gonna be
fresh. They're
fresher,
local. They're,
right?
all these
and
things.
again, you don't got to like agonize, but like literally, if
Right.
you look up whatever state you live in and just put, seasonal foods for Colorado or seasonal foods for whatever, you'll see what they are. Like, and
You'll be amazed.
try
by
to
like,
make,
oh, yeah, these are-
try to make some, again, it's that planning. Try to make some meals with those fruits and vegetables in them, because you're going to find that like, oh man, my body kind of craved that anyway. Like
Yeah.
like, and you'll
Well,
be able
it's
to
like-
try new recipes.
It's so cool because that circadian rhythm we're talking about, it actually also follows the flow of the earth and the earth cycle
Right.
and all these things. And it's like, wait a second, this is kind of crazy, but
Like-
like it all lines up. It's meant to work together. And
Right. I mean, if there's anything as humans that we are really, really, really bad at, is we forget how connected we are to nature, earth, whatever. Like, again, it's only, if you think about like since the dawn of mankind, it's only been the past, I would say probably more than 100 years at this point, but like, far more, but like less than we've been around, that we've had to be less connected. We have our houses, we have our artificial light, we have food that we can have at any moment. And so we don't have to rely upon nature quite as much as we did for a very long part of our history. Now we don't have to do that as much. So
Right.
we forget how connected we are and how our bodies are still connected to like this, like the circadian or this rhythm of like nature and whatever,
Right.
like how much we need sunlight, how much is this idea of grounding. Remember when I first heard about grounding? I'm like, what is grounding? I've heard this.
yeah.
It's important that we like have our bare feet touching the ground, that our hands get dirty with soil. Like
Yeah.
our bodies need that kind
Yep.
of stuff. So
Absolutely. So if we're talking about this magic window of eating from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., what are we doing from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m.? Right.
fasting.
Fasting.
Right. So like just kind of goes along with it, is that the other 12 hours of your day that you're fasting. It's kind of like this natural 12-hour fast from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. It's obviously, like you said, the opposite of the magic window, right?
Right.
And that's when ideally you're winding down for the night. You think about 8 p.m., you're winding down, you're not eating food. That's when digestion is happening. And our body's like super hard at work that we mentioned. But one of the things that we didn't mention is like during that time while you're sleeping, like not only we talked about the cleaning system, right? And things like that, but along with that, like your body is assimilating, like digestion is a hard process on your body. It's a stressful process. Now stress isn't always bad. It's a good thing, right? Like it's like, oh, well, I'm never going to eat. I'm going to reduce my stress. That's cool if for a limited amount of time. Eventually, you will die, right? But the idea of like digestion is like your body's taking this food that is a foreign substance. It's not part of who you are, and it's taking this thing and you're eating it. It's first assimilating it into your body, digesting it, and then using the nutrients from that to make the things that make up your body. Your heart is made of the food you eat. Your liver, your kidneys, like it is made up of the food that you eat. So I guess kind of side note too, if you were thinking about it, if you were building a house, would you build a house out of styrofoam? No, because that's going to be terrible materials to build a house with, right? It is not going to stand. It's going to fall. It's going to be the worst. Well, we kind of will eat foods
that are basically
that are basically styrofoam,
for our
and we're like,
bodies.
man, we wonder why our bodies are breaking down, right? Again, kind of a side tangent there, just been like, make your body of good stuff,
Right.
right? Like
Use good building materials.
use good, solid, whole food building materials for as much as you can to make your body. Side note, side tangent. Sorry about that. Sorry, not sorry.
There you go.
But yeah, we're made of the foods that we eat. So this digestion process is huge. If we're always digesting, it's always a stress on our body. So that fasting window is critical. Like that is critically important.
Yeah, absolutely. We have this big, 50-cent word, autophagy. So, and maybe you haven't heard that before, but why don't I know you're going to do a better job of explaining.
You do it. You do it.
I'm really bad at explaining stuff. So
Explain it.
It's actually sounds really weird, but autophagy is basically like self-eating.
Right.
Your body's eating itself, which sounds like, okay, that's really
Yeah, it
crazy
sounds like a
and
bad
gross.
thing, right?
And,
It sounds like a bad thing.
It sounds like a bad thing, but when we give our bodies time to not be digesting,
Right.
your body still needs different nutrients and things like that to function. And it's, whatever. Again, I said I'm bad at explaining things. But your body actually starts eating itself in a good way, all the things that it needs to get rid of. You think of like extra fat and extra,
Right.
that's where it's going to get that from.
Right.
Rather than the food that you're putting in, it's just going to take it from what's within.
Right. And it starts with the bad stuff.
And it starts with the bad stuff. So when you give your body a chance to do that, you think about, oh, I have these extra couple pounds that I'm trying to lose. And, okay, well, that's when that's going to come into play. When you've probably heard, or maybe you haven't, like being in a calorie deficiency.
Right.
Like that's where it's, okay, yep, now we can start burning that fat.
Right.
We can start eating, self-eating.
Yeah,
Again,
well
it
done.
sounds weird, but did I do okay?
Yeah, no, that's perfect.
Okay.
No, it's a weird process, but it's real. Within the right time frame, within the right amount, it's really, really healthy. Again,
Right.
if you were to take that and extend it to
an extreme.
weeks and weeks, whatever, you can understand why your body starts breaking down because your body's going to start trying to find fuel.
Now from the good stuff.
Right. So,
Yeah.
but within having this, like being in this state of hunger, again, I'm not saying anyone needs to be starving or anything like that, right? But you'll find also your body will regulate, right?
Right.
Like we have this, we have this part of our body where, like our body's used to where this is at, right? Where it's at now, where it's used to always being able to eat and have food, and any leave is slight little bit of hunger, like, oh my gosh, I'm a little bit hungry. Okay, I can go get food. You can immediately satisfy that, right? So your body's used to that. Like, and our bodies are super good at making things very easy for us, which is a really, really good thing, right? When's the last time that you really thought about your heart beating? Probably never. Right? Because your body just does it. It's not a process you have to think about, right?
Breathing until you start thinking about it, and then you're like, wait, how do I breathe? I forgot. Like, what?
Right. I've been times where you drive to work and you get to work or you get home from work and you're like, I don't even remember driving home. Like, I don't know, maybe that's not a good thing to say, but like, right? Like, but I've
it's just
been there where you're like,
natural,
because your
yeah.
body just makes it easier for you,
Yeah.
right? It's this muscle memory, right? With that, we have this homeostasis where like our body has this level it's at. It's used to always eating. So you have to like
stop
honestly
that.
like physically, mentally change your body and be like, hey body, we're gonna like be a little bit hungry here. I'm not saying anyone needs to starve, but especially if you're looking to lose weight, you're looking to be in this state of autophagy every once in a while, right? You're going to have to make some sacrifices and you're going to be a little bit hungry. Good news. Your body will get used to it and be like, oh,
This is our new.
I'm not as hungry as I used to be.
Right. This is our new homeostasis.
Yes,
like, okay,
correct.
I don't need as much as I thought I did. I took my body a second to catch up with that, but like, oh, I'm good.
Right.
I'm good.
Right. So, and it gets easier. You'll find like, oh, and then also too, like you'll find you need less food to be full.
Right.
Yeah. So like with all that, like if you want to be in the, have this state of autophagy once in a while, like it's going to be a little bit hard, but it gets easier. Like it gets easier, and that's honestly like it doesn't like it makes sense. Like honestly, like we have our like the rudimentary life, our fan art up here too, which we love. But like none of these things we're saying are like complicated. You start thinking about it, you're like, oh, that kind of makes sense.
Right.
It's rudimentary.
Right.
Don't ever complicate that with necessarily making it easy though, right? Sometimes the things that make the most sense, it's like, yeah, gosh, that makes sense.
It's going to take a little bit of sacrifice.
But it's
though.
hard. The hope is it does get easier because your body is really good at making things, your brain is super good at making things easier for you.
Yep.
You just first have to kind of break the old way of doing it, train it a new way, and then it gets easier. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, one of the things you hear a lot too in regards to like eating, 'cause we're talking about fasting too, is like, hey, like breakfast is the most important meal of the day, right? That actually was a marketing slogan as much as opposed to being a scientific
yeah.
idea, right? Now it was adopted scientifically afterwards just because people got so used to saying that, whatever. Not saying that science ever proves that. But like the truth is, so like people will ask like, well, what is the most important meal of the day? All of them and none of them.
Right. Yeah.
Like there really is no most important meal of the day. There's no meal that you should always hit. And also there's no meal that you should always skip. Like
Right. That's where that bio-individuality comes in, where we talk like you can go longer in the morning. Like you might be able to go till 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. before you eat something and you'll be just fine. Me, if I am awake for more than an hour or two and I don't eat something, I start to feel it. Like
Right.
it doesn't even, and doesn't have to be huge. For me, I just need something small and then I'm good to go. You do your protein shake, which again is probably like a 600 calorie protein shake.
Right,
It's
it's a
very
lot, yeah.
filling, but then you're good usually until dinner. You'll have a snack. So
Right.
it can look different. It's not necessarily the most important meal of the day. What is important though is you just had this 12-hour at least fast. What's the first thing you're putting in? Whatever time it
Correct.
is, what's the very first thing you're putting in? Because for a lot of us, it's okay, I'm on my way to work, and on my way, I'm going to drive through, the line at Starbucks, or I'm going to go to Tim Hortons or Dunkin' or whatever is your favorite coffee chain, and I'm going to grab a super sugary coffee and a donut or a pastry or a muffin. And it's like, okay, so you just fasted, your body did all these amazing things, and it's like, okay, let's go, we're ready. And you're going to pump it full of sugar and carbs first
Right.
thing, and empty carbs at that. Like, not that carbs are bad, but
Right.
all these really processed sugars and processed carbs. And it's like, oh, we did all this work and this is what you're giving us?
Right. Yeah, think about it like your body's looking for nutrients. So like no matter what, when you're sleeping at night, like you're not sleeping and eating. So there is some
Right.
type of fast going on, right? Whether it's 6, 7, 8 hours, whatever. But like it's probably, I can't even say probably, it is definitely the longer stretch that your body goes every day without food, right? When you're sleeping. So when you wake up, or if you decide to, like you said, on your way to work, you're grabbing that, like your body's looking to get nutrients to assimilate, to be like, okay. And those sugary drinks, those simple carbs, right, are going to immediately spike your insulin. So it's going to immediately have all this glucose that's in your body that it's trying to get rid of. So like the insulin spikes. So that's where you get like that mid-afternoon lull, right? Where like it spikes and you're like, okay, here we go. All right. Yeah. Then you find yourself that you're hungry.
drops
like,
off
right?
quickly.
And you're tired and things like this. So well, then what do we typically do? All right, well, we head out for lunch and we go get our fast food and we go and then
Grab
we do the
another,
same
yeah.
thing all over again. And our body has this roller coaster of insulin spikes and drops. And we wonder why we're, we have so much type 2 diabetes in the world, right? It's like there's no regulation in regards to our insulin because we are following this pace every single day, right?
Right.
So more important than the most important meal of the day, like you said, the most important thing is what's the first thing you're eating in the morning, right? It's more important than the actual fast, right? Make sure that you're putting good nutrient, which again might take some planning, right? Because I get it. Like we get up and go to work. So we're not sitting here from a place of like not understanding that, right? So, but that's where that planning comes in. Okay, hey, what are we going to do? What are we going to talk about? What are we going to eat so that way we're ready in the morning, right?
Right.
So,
Yeah, so maybe instead of, that sugary donut or whatever, even if you have to take it to go, I know, like I said, I already said you do protein shakes a lot, which I do like myself, But for me, sometimes it'll be I'll make a little parfait. So I'm still having sugar
Right.
and even carbs because I'm having berries, which berries are definitely lower in sugar than most fruits.
Right.
I'm having some Greek yogurt
Right.
and some granola. But the types of sugar and carbs that I'm now having, because I'm picky about the granola that I put in, because all food is not created equally,
Right,
you
right.
know. But like, okay, those are good sugars and good carbs. Like you can still, if you have a sweet tooth and you want something sweet in the morning, like you can still have that. Just make wiser choices. And
Right.
we're not saying you can never go to Starbucks and you
course
can
not.
never have a muffin or like have that. It's just how often.
Right.
Right.
That's the norm for people,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
as opposed to being like, hey, the exception. And it's kind of one of those things. Like I think about GI Joe. Like the more you know, right? Like the knowing is half the battle,
Yeah.
right? GI Joe. No, the more you know was like the
Was the dun, dun, dun.
yes,
Yeah.
there you go. Yeah, GI Joe was knowing is half the battle. The other half is now you know.
I gotta
You got to
do.
do it, right? So ignorance isn't always bliss, right?
Right. Oh, we told you this, and now you got to do something about
Right.
it. So sorry.
But here's the thing: is it's also empowering.
Yes, and that's
Because
what we want.
if you're wondering like why, like I mean that was me, right? Like I lost 165 pounds, and when we started implementing these rudimentary, super basic things, again, not that they're necessarily always easy, but these super basic things that are small steps, and you think they're so insignificant, but it's a small step here and a small step, and these benefits you start stacking them up, and all of a sudden your body starts really responding to them in this massively positive way. You do this kind of stuff and it's like, wow, these benefits are amazing. It really
Right.
works out. Just so take the small steps, like start working through that, right? And of understanding and working through it. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
So we've talked about last episode, right amounts of the right foods. We just talked about at the right times. Now, this last one that we're going to mention is actually one that we've more recently added. We used to just say right amounts of the right foods at the right times, which is great. But you kind of brought this to light as we were learning more and more. And it was like, that's all great.
Yep.
But this last right is in the right way. So right amounts of the right foods at the right time in the right way. Well, what does that mean?
Yeah. Well, it's like, what is it? Was it Aerosmith and Run DMC with Walk This Way? Was that the song, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Right. It was Aerosmith, right?
Yeah,
Wasn't it?
yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Hopefully, if not, correct
Right.
us.
So this is like, eat this way instead of walk this way, right?
This way.
There you go. I was going to do it, but it would have been way bad. So, so the right way, right? So, okay, again, what does that mean, right? So when we're talking about the right way, it's kind of like the atmosphere, the conditions around how you eat is so
Right.
important. And again, we'll break this down a little bit to make it much more palatable and understandable, whatever. But the way you take in your calories, the way you eat has a drastic impact on your health and your body's assimilation of those calories. So we talked about digestion, how your body's assimilating those calories, taking those nutrients in and building your body. Your body does it differently depending upon how you eat. And the very first thing, and we'll get into a lot more specifics too, is to slow down.
How
Slow down.
how often are we just shoveling food in our faces? Because let's face it, we're all busy. Like we've been talking about this. Life is busy.
Yep.
We have felt the busyness factor on a higher level than normal lately, and it just seems like it comes in
Kinda hard to
seasons.
pinpoint, but-
yeah, like why all of a sudden do we feel like, oh my gosh, I'm tired and I'm busy and I feel like every moment of my day is just planned for us
Right.
and like wake up, do everything, go to bed, repeat and
Right, Groundhog Day.
Right.
Bill Murray,
Yeah, we
Groundhog
are stuck
Day.
in
That's what it
Groundhog
feels
Day
like sometimes.
And so when you're busy like that, it's like, okay, I've got 10 minutes, scarf down food, and okay, let's go. And it's like, well, is that really the healthiest way to take in food?
Yeah. Well, just think about again, if we take a step back here, for the most part, when are any of us doing anything our best? Probably when we're taking some time to actually do it, right? When we're being deliberate about it, thoughtful about it, right? When you're in a stressed out state and everything's rushing, you feel like you might get a lot done, but nothing done well.
Right.
Did a lot of things, nothing great.
Yeah.
You know, as opposed to like, well, I only got a few things done today, but man, they were deliberate and I feel really good about the work I put out, right?
We all think we're really good at multitasking.
Right.
But like
We're not.
you can't do two things at once 100%.
Right.
Like you
It's an
can't. You can think
impossibility.
you are,
Right.
but it's not possible.
You could do two things at the same time. You can multitask, but you're going to be bad at it. Or you can
Yeah.
get two things done. You can't
Okay,
devote
yeah.
100% to two things,
Yeah.
right? So we're really good at tasking, not multitasking. So, and there's all kinds of studies on that, and we could talk about that later too. But like, our body's the same way. Like, our body's really good at doing things in an order and taking time to do it. Now, I understand, like you just said, life is busy, and you're like, how am I going to slow down? Listen, you got to make time for it. We're in this hyper connected 24/7 with cell phones and email, and everyone's always trying to reach out to us. And so, with that, like we make ourselves so busy because we got to check on this or update that or respond to this person or call this guy back or whatever. For the most part, none of those things are emergencies,
Right.
right? We think that everything is urgent. And it really isn't. There's really very few things that are urgent, right? I'm not saying those urgent things don't exist. But everything is not urgent. If everything's urgent, then everything is just actually normal,
Right.
right? Like just because there's the asterisk next to the email, or no, the exclamation point next to the email that says high importance, it doesn't mean it's high importance. There's people who email me every day with that thing, and I'm like, okay,
You're like, okay.
buddy, if everything you email me has that,
Not
everything you send is not
yeah.
high importance, right? So you get that text from that person, that phone call, right? So we get so busy. Slow down. Like make it a point, deliberate. So okay, so like what do we mean by that? Slow down.
All right. So first of all, like having dinner with your family or with your friends or actually sitting at a table versus eating in your car on the go. Believe it or not, you could have the exact same meal, exact same amount of calories. Your body is not going to pull all of the same nutrients
Right.
out of that meal that you're in the car scarfing down on the way to your next meeting,
Correct.
which is crazy to think about. It's the same thing.
You could literally have the exact same lunch. We could have the exact same lunch. You sit down, and yeah, we're talking about dinner with family, which is amazing. Like we'll get to that in a second more.
But even
like,
a lunch, you know, during
lunch,
work day.
where you're like,
yeah.
hey, you know what? I'm gonna go, sit outside or go to the break room. I'm going to maybe you're gonna like read a book. Maybe you're just gonna sit with your thoughts and be like, I'm not gonna look at anything. I'm just
Right.
going to just
wanna
sit and
actually
eat.
enjoy
I'm
my
actually going to
food.
get away from my computer.
Yeah.
I'm going to put my phone down and I'm just going to eat, right, or engage with conversation. Versus me with the exact same lunch, literally the exact same lunch, exact same calories, exact same foods, and I'm going to eat them while I answer emails. I'm going to eat them while I'm answering my phone. I'm going to eat them while I'm doing other things and not relaxing. Your body will assimilate those. You will feel more satiated. You'll feel more full. You will feel more satisfied, and your body will take those calories in so much better to make better products, make better hearts and organs
All the things.
than mine.
Right.
I'm going to feel hungry. I'm going to feel not satiated. I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to eat more food.
Right.
Because this just happens so stressfully and fast. Like, that's crazy.
Right.
That's crazy. But it kind of just makes sense too, right? So all that to say, that's one way to slow down. Like, just disconnect as much as you can and slow. I get it. Sometimes you're going to have to eat lunch. You know, there's this new phrase now, it honestly drives me crazy in the work world. Like, we're going to have a working lunch. That's stupid.
You're like, let's stop that.
And I
yeah.
guess I get sometimes that's normal, whatever, but that should be such an exception to the rule. Not like
Right.
this is like, oh, we're just going to do a working lunch.
Right. Well, I've heard so many people from other countries, one of the things that like blew their mind the most when they came over to the US was how many people they saw eating in their car. And I wouldn't have even thought about that, but they're
Right.
like, yeah, we don't eat in our cars like on the go. Like that's not a normal thing in other countries. In
Right.
America, that is the norm. You always see people, you pull up to the stoplight and the person next to you has got a burger in their hand and like that's just normal. But in other countries,
Burger in
that's
their hand, shaven, answering a text.
yeah, we've seen the commercials. But yeah, like that's not normal in other countries enough that it stood out to multiple people. Like I feel like even B, our foreign exchange student, said
Right.
that like it was weird to see people eating in their cars, and it's like, oh wow, I guess that's not normal.
Right, right. But at the same time, especially for the past, I wouldn't even say 100 years, maybe the past 20 years, maybe 30, it's all we've known.
That's all we've known.
And so it's become this norm that's not
accepted
actually
that-
normal.
yeah, and
It's just
it
that we've never grown up with the actual normal way.
Right.
What we're doing now is abnormal.
Right.
So yeah, you might be the person who like they're like, how come you didn't answer my email 4 seconds after I sent it? Because I was having lunch. Oh, you actually take a lunch? Yeah, of course I do. My health's important to me.
Right.
Right? Like, so
Be
I
the
guess that's
example in
yeah.
your office, and if they make fun of you, that's
Yeah,
okay.
you might
That's
be-
something worth being made fun of for.
Right,
That's okay.
right, 100%. Another, tip to slowing down is put your utensils down between bites.
Yep.
Put them down, right? So like, it's not this like if you're just shoveling it in, right? Like,
Bite after bite, and
don't
yeah.
eat like that. Like, take a bite, put it down, and chew, and just enjoy. I remember like I'm looking at my son who's helping us with audio today. Like my kids, like when we were like would actually make fun. I remember them being like, "Oh, look at Dad putting his fork down," because like I literally made this a deliberate point when I was trying to lose weight to be like, "I'm going to eat slower,"
Right.
because I was a scarfer.
Yeah. You see so many families that eat like they came from large families. So there's like this, I've heard this from people who have, 8, 9 brothers, sisters. It's like, okay, the food's on the table and you've got to grab and inhale whatever you can, because when you have that many people sitting around the table, the food is gone like that.
Right.
And so like, I think so many of us that don't come from larger families have that same mindset of, oh, I got to eat because, it's going to be gone, or I want more of it just because it tastes good. And it's like, okay, but did you actually enjoy it? Did you, actually taste what you ate, or were you
Right.
just shoveling bite after bite? Like, it's great that you're sitting at the dinner table. It's great that you are having the conversation, but are you even contributing to the conversation because your mouth is full of food all the time,
Right. And that's where like that family conversation, or when we say family, it doesn't. Yes, it's great if it's
Whatever,
with the people
yeah.
you're actually like related to or whatever. But like whatever your family is, like of just having conversation, like that will naturally slow you down. But like if you make a point of like taking a bite, put your utensil down, right?
Yeah.
If you have a burger, take a bite of the burger, put the burger down,
Right.
right? Like things like this, like will help you to slow down. You'll find that you're not the first one done. You'll find you'll feel more full because you're actually giving your body time to digest. That way you're not like have your food gone in 3 minutes and you're like, I'm still hungry. Well, your body's like, well, time out. Like, we're not hungry. We just got to figure out what we're doing with what you just put down our
Yeah.
gullet, and then we'll figure out the rest, right? So,
Right.
yeah. So, and then actually like taste the food. Like, that sounds weird. Like, of course we taste the food. No, we don't. Like you
Right.
just said, we just inhale it. Taste the food. Enjoy the food.
Savor the food.
Yeah, like just like, and again, like I'm not saying you got to be a weirdo about it either,
Right.
right? Like like I always think about the another Bill Murray reference here too is What About Bob, right?
Classic.
A classic movie. You got to look it up. What About Bob? So like, won't get into it, but Bill Murray's character ends up someplace he really shouldn't be, and he's at the table eating corn. And every bite, he's just making some very awkward moaning sounds when he's eating this corn.
He was very happy eating the
He
corn.
he was enjoying and tasting the corn, that is for sure, right? And
Awkward for
it's
everyone
very
else.
Awkward,
Yeah.
like to where like the person he's with, which is I think Richard Dreyfuss, right?
Yeah.
Like he's like yells at him. He's like, "What are you doing? Stop it!" Whatever. But you don't gotta be weird, all right? You don't gotta make weird noises while you're eating your food, right? But taste it, enjoy it. Like
Right.
again, not to be dumb or weird, but like, what does it make you think of? Like, food has this really magical power of like transporting you, right? Like the smells and like, oh, this reminds me of this, or this really tastes like that, or remember when we did this? Like, like enjoy it. Take a second, like
Right.
really enjoy food. Food is more than just fuel. Like,
Absolutely.
enjoy it. Again, without being a weirdo. So.
Without being a weirdo.
So that was slow down, right? Couple
Right.
different ideas just to slow down where we're eating. So the next thing we have on here is to make it an event, right?
Right.
Make eating an event, which again, to your point, like you just said, really, our country is one of the only ones that really doesn't do that. It doesn't make eating an event, right? So
Yeah. And again, we understand this is going to take preparation.
yes,
And I remember, and I think I may have mentioned this in a different episode, like when we would hear, oh, eat with your family at least 3 meals, a week. And we were like, oh, our kids are little. Like, this is easy. We eat every meal together. But then as kids got older and had jobs and after school activities, like, we're like, oh, this is more difficult than we thought. But that minimum effective dose of having at least 3 meals a week that you're eating. Maybe it's not dinner. Maybe it's, on Saturday you have brunch together.
Right.
Maybe it's on, like, it doesn't have to be dinner because we understand people's evenings might look different and that's okay. But of literally calendarizing it, having, okay, these are the nights where everyone's home, or these are the days, or these, we're going to have breakfast at least these 3 times. We're going to get everyone together. And again, I know everyone's family looks different. Whatever that is for you,
right.
Whoever your people are, try and, 3 times a week of having it with those people. And then not only doing that, but getting everyone involved. If you have kids, I think you've probably heard this said before, if you get your kids involved in the process, there's a better chance that they're going to eat what it is that they're making.
What they help make, yeah.
Like, so if you, want to introduce new fruits and vegetables to kids that are picky and, typically are like, oh, I don't want that because it's green, or I don't want that because it's this, texture, whatever. Let them, take them to a farmer's market, or even just take them to the grocery store, whatever's, in season. Let them pick something out. If they get to pick it, they get to prepare it, there's a better chance that they'll actually want to at least try it, and then maybe even surprise themselves into loving it.
Right.
So get those people involved.
If they pick it out too, like we all like to fight for the things we pick for, right?
Even if we don't like it, we're going to stand by, well, this was my choice, and so I love this.
This is really good. I love this. I love this Brussels sprouts. And you're like, what the? You've never ate Brussels sprouts. You've always come about, no, these ones are special because you picked them, right?
Right.
Whatever. Who cares? They're eating Brussels sprouts, right? So, yeah, get them involved. And by like minimum effective dose, like, that the studies are showing, like, but that 3 times. 3 is not just like this random number, right? But like, if you get people involved, and again, you have these meals, it doesn't have to be dinner, but like at least 3 times a week, studies are showing that those kids, there's a lower risk for diabetes. They're eating more fruits and vegetables. Like there's this magic around having a meal together,
right?
That honestly helps prevent disease,
right?
And it helps promote health and nutrients and things like that. Right. And it's just a simple thing of just eating together, of just eating together, how it changes things. So do that. Again, it takes some planning.
Right. I remember when we first started, like, really purposefully implementing this and having the kids in the kitchen, like this was several years ago now. We never really ate things like cabbage. Like that just was not in our repertoire of meals. And I started using like shredded red cabbage, like on tacos or things like that, instead of like an iceberg lettuce that has less nutritional, properties. Like red cabbage, you got these dark, vibrant colors. It's really good for you. And I would cut it, and they'd be out there with me, and all of a sudden I'd see, like, Autumn and Maddie especially would just grab pieces and just start chomping on cabbage. Like, to a point where I'm like, guys, we need this for dinner. You can't eat it all. And I'm like, never in a million years would I would think I would be telling my kids to stop eating all the cabbage.
Right.
But literally, that's what
we had to discipline them. Just kidding. Just kidding.
No, but like, it is crazy. Like, things that you wouldn't expect them to just chomp on, they would just grab and start eating because it was there and because they were helping. And I'm like, I guess that's what you can eat it now instead of eating it at dinner. If it's gone, it's gone. You ate it, and that's cool,
Right.
Right. So getting them in there, getting them involved, trying new things. It may not always be easy, but it will get easier. There's things that your kids will do that you'll be like, wow, I never expected you to actually enjoy this, or to want to help with this. And kids want to help, and we understand that, especially if you have younger kids, that in and of itself is going to be sacrifice on your part, because it's going to take longer. It's going to be messier. This isn't something you're probably going to be able to do every night because, again, we're busy. And if you can, that's awesome. That's fantastic. But at the same time, like, we understand that sacrifice. It was sacrifice for me, who is like self-diagnosed OCD, and like, I'm very particular, I'm neat, I'm organized, and then I'm like, okay, kids, have at it. And it's like, oh dear Lord, they're making such a mess. Oh my goodness, they're not cutting that right. Oh my, like, that's where you have to personally grow. And I had to personally grow and be like, okay, this is okay though. They're out here. I want help. I'm going to have to like release release my control a little
And
bit.
here's the thing, though, like, no matter how it was prepared, it all comes out looking the same.
It does.
I mean-
you're not wrong. You are not wrong there.
But yeah, like, I was just going to say that, like, of making sure that, like, or I guess going into it with, hey, this is not going to go exactly the way I want it to.
right.
Like, but it just understanding that minimum effective dose of planning, like literally calendarizing it. Hey guys, we're gonna do brunch on Saturday together. We're gonna do this. Everyone, as much as you can, block off your calendars. Again, life happens, but like of calendarizing it, planning for it, and then with it, one of the things that we've kind of like off the cuff talked about, but during specifically those times when we're eating together, like we've came up with this no phone zone. Mm-hmm. Right?
Table is now the no phone zone.
Yep, the no phone zone, right? So to where don't even bring your phone to the table, right? Like, so, because for one, it can be an easy distraction, right? Or easily to grab or whatever. Because like we don't even realize how many we're doing. They're just checks, right? Where you're just like, what are you doing right now? Oh, I guess I'm looking at my phone, right? So it's like, hey, like just put it somewhere else. Also, two studies are showing that even with your phone being in your view, even if it's like face down, you're not looking at it, whatever, like it elevates your stress levels even a little bit as opposed to you having the phone out of sight. So we have this thing, our kids, they've adapted to it well. You know, they kind of know. And now sometimes, you know, usually because they're trying to pick on each other, they'll be like, oh, no phone zone, no phone zone. Or maybe mocking me, you know, either way. But the point's getting across, right? Of like, hey, like, we want to be able to engage with conversation. We want to be able to talk, right? And as much as there'll be resistance at first, like, whatever, just have some grace with it, whatever. But it's working.
Right.
Like, it's working. It's you know.
They talk about, I think, one of the biggest concerns that we've heard, at least the parents have, is like, my kids won't talk to me. Like, I can't get them to talk. Like, how was your day? Good. Oh, what'd you do? Nothing. Like, and you're struggling because you want to be able to communicate with your kids, but you don't know how. And this is a great way to start that. Like you said, they might buck against it at first, and that's okay.
Right.
But believe it or not, the more you do it and the more you try to engage them, they will eventually open up and start sharing. It might not be on purpose. They might not realize they're doing it, and that's perfect. That's right where you want them.
Right.
Eventually, though, they will start sharing. Like when there's not something else taking their attention, you know, they'll definitely share. And that's like our kids, not that our family is perfect by any means, and there's times where we've had those like, oh, how was your day? Oh, fine. But at this point right now, and I mean, our youngest is 17 and our oldest is 23, and there's usually no lack of conversation.
Right.
And I think that goes to that we've had that where like, okay, we're going to talk. Like if we're going to sit down and have a dinner, like we're going to talk. And it's not a huge struggle all the time now, which is great.
Yeah, and part of it too is like, we're talking about like eating specifically like these 3 meals a week, an event of making that a big deal. Like, make it fun. Mm-hmm. Like, so it's not about the rules. It's not about this. Like, so make it fun. So like, you want to have a easy way to get your kids to stop talking is to make it a bunch of rules and to make it something to where like they're like, oh my gosh, here are these 3 meals we got to do together, right? So as much as you can, make it fun, right? So some ideas with that are like, maybe dessert's not a thing you always do, but like have a dessert. Like, hey, and like let different people pick the dessert, right? You know, we have one of our kids that doesn't like chocolate. So like if we never let that person, maybe everyone else is going to pick a chocolate dessert. This person's like, I hate family dinners because we never have a dessert I like, right? So let other people pick the dessert and like have them, like you said, get them involved, have them make it ahead of time. Okay, cool. You want that dessert? Let's make it together ahead of time so it's ready to go. With conversation topics, like take the onus off yourself and ask, hey, all right, hey son, hey daughter, like what do you want conversation to be tonight? What do you want to talk about? Maybe it's sports, maybe it's school, maybe it's life, maybe it's Pokemon, maybe it's, you know, Dungeons and Dragons, maybe, who knows, but let people just bring up conversation. This is what we're going to talk about, right? And you'll find that conversation will get diverted into about a bazillion different ways, and you'll talk about, you'll go from talking about one thing to one thing to one thing, and all of a sudden you're like, wow, we got
how did we get here?
Kind of deep in a conversation here, but started with, you know, this, right? Yeah. So just, you know, and sometimes I think like like as parents, like we need to sometimes ask better questions, right? As opposed to like, you know, how was school today? Good. Maybe a better question. That's a bad question. Hey, what was the best thing that happened at school?
Because they can't just say good.
Good. Well, that doesn't make any sense.
That doesn't answer my question. So try again.
Right.
Yeah.
Or maybe sometimes, hey, like what was the thing that you hated the most today? Well, you know, not that you want to be negative, but like, hey, maybe that gets the conversation going. Hey, what stunk today? Well, this happened and it was terrible. All right. Well, like what was terrible about that? Like that, right? So maybe asking some better questions. We've done a game night, movie afterwards. If you can kind of associate, like, all right, hey, after we have family dinner, we're going to do a game together, right? Whether that be, we've done. One of the things that we've done recently that are a lot of fun is these Jackbox games.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like they're just like crazy fun and you're able to use your cell phone. So there's tech involved. There's very little setup. Like you have like a host that shows you how to play the game. Then you play and it's super fun. Like like we laugh, like usually gets inappropriate, but it's fun. Like
that's okay too.
Yeah, like so like you have like these game nights where you're like, hey, we're gonna watch a movie, so have someone pick a movie, or maybe it's, you know, a certain series they like, right? But like if you start bundling these fun things around dinner, you'll find that your dinner conversation it'll be easier to calendarize them because it'll be something that people are looking forward to doing.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, if you have time, again, this probably isn't even a weekly thing, but like, okay, we're going to have a movie night and we're going to theme everything that we eat around that movie. You know, like we're going to make, you know, we're going to watch a Harry Potter movie. And so we're going to go on.
Like that, right? They have Harry Potter cookbooks. They have Disney cookbooks.
Go to your Pinterest and, you know, search up recipes or whatever. And like, again, that's going to take a little bit more time. It might not be something you do on a weekly basis, but that's something that will get your family involved, get them excited about the food. And you might be trying some new things, trying to incorporate some new healthy foods in there, and it'll make it fun and look forward to it.
Yeah, and we're not saying to do all these things every time.
No.
Just try a couple once in a while, right? So last one we have here is a family walk. Like if you have the weather working out, like not only does that aid digestion, but obviously you're getting outside, whatever. But ways that you can make like this calendarizing of meals like a fun, which is going to help you, like we're talking about, to slow down, to eat slower, but also to enjoy the meal, like, and to set your body up in the right way, right? Remember, this whole idea is the right way, that this is going to help your body to assimilate these calories better, slower, build better things, and like it promotes health and fights diabetes. Like it literally, science shows it's fighting diabetes, and it's just by eating. You're not even changing what you're eating necessarily. It's just how you're doing it, right? Which kind of leads to this next thing too, is like one of the things that we've lost in our instant world with, I know we talked before, you know, of the Uber Eats and the DoorDash and things like that, is this anticipation of eating. Right.
So you think about Thanksgiving Day. If you celebrate Thanksgiving, usually it's with an exorbitant amount of food that you start in the morning and cooks all day, and those smells fill the house, and you literally start to salivate and get excited, like, oh my gosh, I cannot wait to eat those mashed potatoes and gravy. I cannot wait to have that pumpkin pie. I cannot wait, like, give it to me now. I want the food. Because you're like your body's like, okay, I'm ready. Let's go. I'm ready to eat. I've been smelling this stuff all day. Like, you're excited to eat food.
Right.
Now that's like a, you know, couple times a year on holidays type thing. Why can't we have maybe not that same all day long process, but those same kind of food vibes, you know,
and that's where
the rest of the year.
That's where some of those crock pot meals, right? I think about times that like, you've put something in the crock pot, we've went out to do whatever, come home, and you're just like, oh my gosh,
goodness, it smells
that
so
pulled
good.
pork smells unreal, right? Like that anticipation is honestly one of the first steps of digestion. Like your body is preparing for digestion by the smells and things like that. Like you just said, like, and that's a critical part of assimilating that food better and being it. Like, again, I understand every meal can't be a slow cooker. Every meal can't be Thanksgiving, but even think about the idea of like, when I guess I can't say, I've never heard anyone say, oh my gosh, this smells like Thanksgiving, and they mean it in a bad way.
Right.
Or like, I know there's
this
times
brings me
where,
back
like,
to the holidays.
where you know, like as those fall seasons starts coming around, and like whether we're making like a pumpkin pie or and all, or the pumpkin spice, when pumpkin spice everything comes out, it's like, oh my gosh, this smells like Thanksgiving. And I've
Right.
never heard anyone say that in a way it's like, oh my gosh, this smells like Thanksgiving. Like it's
Right.
always like in a super good way.
Yeah.
Just think what that does to your mood, right? Because immediately in your mind, like it just changes everything for you. That's so good, this anticipation of eating. So
Right.
as much as you can, like, especially like with those 3 meals, right? Of like, take your time with it. Like, make it this event as much as you can. Calendarize it, block the time off, and do it. It's such a great way to really make sure that we're eating food and eating it this right way, right?
Right.
So,
And like we said, so now we've gone over the right amounts of the right foods at the right time in the right ways. Baby step it.
right.
Like, it does not need to be, we're saying all these things, and again, they're guidelines. They're going to look different for different people, and that's okay. But it doesn't have to be all at once. I'm going to change everything because you're going to get overwhelmed.
Right.
And it won't stick. But if you're like, oh, like I said, everything we said is relatively simple concepts. And there's
Right.
things you probably, as you're listening right now, are like, oh, yeah, I never thought about that. I can do that.
Right.
Oh, I never thought about I can do. Start with those things.
That's
I didn't think about
the
it.
low-hanging fruit.
Yeah, that's something I can do today.
Mm-hmm.
Start with that. And then the ones that are like, oh gosh, like calendarizing and making these events, that's going to take me a little bit longer because there's some planning. Okay, we'll slowly implement that. But
Right.
start today with the things that you're like, oh yeah, I can do that.
You don't got to go from 0 to 3.
No.
Hey, we're going to do 1 meal a week, right?
Right.
1 is more than 0.
Yep.
You're moving in the right direction,
Exactly.
right? And slowly move into the right direction. Like, make this small, easy steps for you to adapt into your life, for your family to jump on board with, right? And talk about it with your family. Hey guys, this is what we want to do, right? You're going to have to look at calendars together. Like, and like you just said, it's like, it sounds like all these rules. Oh my gosh, you got to eat the right amounts of the right foods in the right ways, at the right times, and all this different stuff. It's like, well, honestly, like it just kind of makes sense, right? Like the right amounts. Like we are as Americans now like classic overeaters. Like we just
Right.
eat. All right, well, you want to eat the right amounts. Okay, I guess that makes sense. Of the right foods. We've talked about, like crazy. I think it's probably been a topic on every episode we've had, like of the right foods that you want to be consuming most of the time, right?
Right.
The foods that are going to be helping your health goals, right? Okay, yeah, I guess that makes sense. Like, I can't have Twinkies all the time. No, that's not going to be.
Right.
Hey, you want to have a Twinkie? Have a Twinkie. Just know that if you have Twinkies all the time, you're not going to be hitting your health
Right.
goals, right? So the right amounts, right foods, the right times. If we talked about that today about like, hey, eating late at night, probably not always going to be the most advantageous. So it's getting your goals. And in the right way, hopefully we kind of illuminated a little bit of like, oh yeah, I guess that does make sense. Our body's going to something like that stuff better. So when you talk about it, it's like not all these, it's all these things that our ancestors used to do without
Right.
thinking about it, without
Right.
having,
It was just natural.
without having the right. They just
Right.
did it, right? There wasn't always access to food. They could only eat at certain times. They had to sleep at certain, like
Yeah.
that's just the way it was. There was no artificial light. No one was eating, at 10 o'clock at night because they were sleeping because there was no
There was
light.
nothing else to do.
Right. I guess
Yeah.
it's time to sleep, right?
Yeah.
So it all kind of makes sense when they did have food, like when it, like the community,
event, yeah.
like their tribe came together and they ate,
Right.
And it was great, and it was like a festival. It was like this big thing. This is what our ancestors have been doing since we started living.
Right.
It's only the past, again, we're being generous saying 100 years where that's really changed, which is such a small amount. It's all we know.
Yep.
So all these things we have to implement now to really get back to get out of the abnormal, to go back to the normal. So
Absolutely.
yeah, so take it, baby step it in, things like that. So
Yep.
obviously every episode we have this rudimentary ritual, like the thing that is like the simple thing that we found to be helpful. We won't talk about it a ton more because we already mentioned it, but for us it was this no phone zone.
Right.
Like it's been a really cool thing. Like I said, we've as a family we'll make fun of us, but be all, oh, no phone zone, no phone zone. Even to the point where sometimes like they'll be like, okay, Dad, I know it's a no phone zone, but I just want to look this up real quick.
just
to
gotta
show
check
you.
this.
I want to show you this
Give
real
me 1
quick. And,
second.
we're like, and guess what? It was like, that's fine.
Yeah. We're not going to fight it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Go ahead, grab your phone, get it.
Right.
But then put it away. Put it back, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, like we keep talking about like, okay, preparation, the things that are important to you, you take the time to prepare for. I can't imagine any parent saying, communicating with my kids isn't important.
Right.
Like, if anything, that that should be a top priority. Our relationship,
Right.
if you have kids, your relationship with those kids is probably one of your top priorities,
Yep.
as it should be.
Right.
And so if that is the case, you'll make the sacrifice to do whatever it takes to make sure you're communicating with your kids and building that relationship. And it might be work at first. And we're not going to sit here and say, oh, it's super easy. We love communicating with our kids all the time, and it's always been easy. And that's not true.
Nope.
But if you sacrifice time doing things that are not as important to focus on things that are,
Yeah,
it'll
hey,
be
you
worth
might be
it.
watching less Netflix,
Right.
right? There could be less things like that you're not watching. You might not be up to date on all the latest shows, on all the latest streaming networks, right? And there's
Right.
some amazing shows out there that, again, not to pin a rose on our nose, that I'm like, yeah, I don't know about that. It's because I don't have time to watch all the new shows that are coming out, right?
Yeah. But you only have them in your house. Talk about a short amount of time, right?
Right.
They're only with you in your home for hopefully about, 25 years. Hopefully not too much longer than that, because
Right.
it's like, okay, you got to get out and do your own thing. But if you establish for those however many years, 18, 20, 25, whatever, a solid relationship, guess what continues when they leave your home? That solid relationship. It looks different. Now it's like, oh, not only are you my kid, but you're one of my best friends.
Right.
Like, we've grown this relationship. So yes, it's going to take work. But when you think of, man, I have them in my grasp, in my home for this short amount of time, I want to make sure that our relationship lasts when they leave that door.
And think about the habits you can pass on to them, or they do with their kids.
Yeah.
And so your grandkids, and so on and so forth, right?
Yeah. So it's worth
this
it.
has this cumulative
Yeah.
effect of continuing with on generations into generations into generations. At the same way, negative things to do is right. It's not so much that diabetes is genetic, but it's the poor eating habits, it's the poor lifestyle habits that are passed on to where diabetes use. That's why you continue to see it happen generation after generation. It's not so much the genetics as much as it is these epigenetics of these
How you were
lifestyle
raised,
habits.
yeah.
Yep, and things like that. So, it's
So if it can start with a
worth
no
it.
phone zone or simple, silly rules, like, it's worth making these little changes that you might get made fun of, or, whatever, for a little bit. Like, it'll grow into bigger
and
things.
the food can be like the unifier, right? It's something to talk about, that, as opposed to like, oh, guys, let's sit around the table without food and let's just talk. Well, that can get awkward fast, right?
Food makes everything better.
Right, right. So there's like
Absolutely.
something to kind of help with the silence or whatever, right? So
And speaking of food, again, we usually share a recipe every episode.
yep,
And we talked about, like, breaking that fast. And one of the things that we both like, but I specifically, whereas you'll go for a protein shake, I love overnight oats. I know they were kind of like a big craze for a while. Like, everyone was talking about these overnight oats. We jumped on that train, and I love them. And here's why. Because with the right ingredients, like, look up some recipes. We'll share this recipe, obviously. They're super nutrient dense.
right,
Great things in them. They're fast and easy to make. So usually once a week, I'll make a batch of them. And usually a batch, I just made some yesterday, and I made, I think it was 6 8-ounce jars and 4 4-ounce jars. So I've got 6 breakfasts, couple little snacks in there, because sometimes you'll grab them for a snack
Right.
or whatever. And it took me maybe 15, 20 minutes.
to make 10 different
Snack,
helpings or
breakfast,
so,
yeah, like whatever. Sometimes we'll have those at dinner, like when we come home late and it's like, oh gosh, it's 9:30, but I'm hungry. Okay, well, I had this in the car. I had some, kind of fruit or vegetable. Okay, I'm gonna have an overnight oats because they are filling.
right,
But my favorite one, it's always my favorite flavor, chocolate peanut butter.
right.
So that's the
Chocolate
recipe.
peanut butter might be the most amazing
combination,
flavor combination
ever.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've made apple cinnamon, and I've made I can't even think right now, like ones with peaches in them and all
Right.
different sorts of things. But my favorite is always chocolate and peanut butter.
Yeah.
But we'll share that recipe. It's a great, just something to have in the fridge. They last, like, I think the recipe says eat within 7 days. We've gone far over 7 days, and they've been just fine.
Yeah.
So
No one's died.
no one's
Or
died
got
yet,
sick.
or
So
got sick,
that's
so-
a low bar, but
yeah, 2 thumbs up. But yeah, so if you're looking for something quick and easy, you can have them hot, you can have them cold. I always just eat them cold. You
Right out
can
of the
grab it
fridge,
on the
yeah.
go. If you do need to take it on the go, it's something that you can take on the go and have later. But that would be our easy recipe of the week.
Yeah. So yeah, guys, I hope you found like these couple episodes here, hopefully all of them, but specifically these last two, this 2-part series, helpful.
Right. We know it's a lot on food.
Yeah. And just like I said, just encourage you again, just to baby step it in, right?
Yeah.
Don't go from 0 to hero. Just what's one thing you can do today, this week, maybe one thing you can do next week, and slowly add it in there. So, and that's kind of honestly, just so everyone knows, that's the point of this podcast, is to give people practical, easy things where you can walk away saying, I could do this, and it's not going to be this massive overhaul to my life, but it's going to help my health, my family's health, whatever. So we hope you enjoyed the show. Yeah.
We want to empower you to be the best version of yourself. And if we can be a part of that journey for you, that makes us happy.
Yeah, exactly, right. So if you like the episode, share it out, right? Send the episode to somebody that you're like, hey, I think this could be great for you to listen to. Share it on social media, tag us, right? Let us know, right? And we have a ton more coming. Oh, yeah. Like, we have a lot more coming. We're really excited about it. So stay tuned to TRL Radio. Thanks so much.
Yeah, we'll see you next time.
Talk to you next time. If you want more of Eric and Michelle Hall and TRL Radio in your life, and honestly, who doesn't, head over to therudimentarylife.com.
There, you'll be able to find all the things: show notes, videos, step-by-step instructions for each recipe, more ways to connect with us and join in with whatever shenanigans we're getting into.
Yeah, and for extra credit, leave us a rating on your favorite listening app. We definitely appreciate all the love.
Thanks for listening.
And we'll see you next time.